This week I learned polls don't matter, baby. We do what we want to do in the content creator world. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. We're headed towards the end of March here and having a great old time as we are in the world of finance. If you know, you know. So crazy things happening this week. I didn't get to read as much as usual, but we'll talk about what happened after all. So guys, obviously, let's begin. What am I reading? I finished this today. Age of War is book number 3 in Legends of the First Empire by Michael J. Sullivan. If you recall, I was kind of mixed on book 2. I liked book 1, Age of Myth. I liked it a lot. Age of Swords kind of like derailed a little bit. Had a little bit of a Last Jedi syndrome in there, and another one of those. If you know, you know. But this one I felt like it kind of corrected the ship. Some really awesome battle sequences in this. I really thought that it gives the origin for something that takes place in Raya Revelations. I thought that was really cool, the way that he did that. Problem I'm having with this series so far is I feel like the characters there's something off about some of them. I feel like there's about 4 main characters that feel like they could have all been wrapped into one role and been the same thing. Like nothing would have changed. They feel like the same character doing 4 different things. And that's really been bothering me a lot. And I don't feel like a lot of stuff is being earned. I feel like a lot of stuff is where Michael J. Sullivan was just saying, it's that way because I said so. I'm the author. And that's just something I didn't expect after how much I felt like he really developed everyone, even background characters, so well in Revelation. So I feel like with this one, that might be missing a little bit. And I felt like there are very, very few characters I'm really, really liking. And the ones that I am really liking, he kills off. So it's like when you got a cast this big, I expect some deaths. But it's like, how about you kill some of those characters that I just said are 4 characters playing the same part? I think that would have made more sense. But, halfway, I'm still encouraged by enough of the story of what he's doing. But I do hope that the character work does come to be more of what I've come to expect from Michael J. Sullivan. So there is that. But I was warned about that when I started, guys. Not expecting Raya Revelations. Obviously, there's no Royce and Hadrian, so I wasn't expecting another Raya Revelations. But I did maybe have the bar set a little too high on what I expect from Mr. Sullivan in character work, and I'm almost done with this. I kind of put it on the back burner so I could finish that one because I don't mind reading this at the same time as I read what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to read. But I don't mind reading some Blake Crouch along with. I'm almost done, as you can see, almost done there. And just what I said last week, guys. Awesome. It's the most Michael Crichton book that he's wrote yet, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about it when I can talk to you about it because it doesn't actually come out until July. So I think that it'll be a while before that embargo lifts and I can talk to you guys about it. Now we get into what am I going to read, guys? Obviously, this is release week for Kingdoms of Death by Christopher Rocchio. And I said I wanted to finish Age of War first. I actually thought I could finish it before release day for that. But like I said, finance, it's a tough time of year right now, and it just didn't happen. So I finished that today, so that way, starting tomorrow, or starting today, actually, I can go straight into, Kingdoms of Death and try to wrap that up before the end of the month. That is the plan or whatever. But I got alerted to this like weird thing where someone is review bombing Christopher Rocchio's books. Guys, stop that. It's just so childish and so stupid. If you really didn't like the book, that's cool, but don't be one person creating 15 accounts just to 1-star or something. It's so hard for some of these authors that are, not the Jim Butchers or the Brandon Sandersons of the world. It's hard for them to really get a foothold, and you getting a wild hair up your ass to go and try to sabotage your career. It's just dumb. Stop. So that's what I'll say about that, but I do look forward to getting into Kingdoms of Death sometime this week and finishing up, hopefully, like I said, by the 1st, because on the 1st, guys, it will be the second half of Two Green Angel Towers. You can see the halfway point here, so that will be the end of the channel read-along for that. I did have some people ask, are you still doing a review for part 1? No, I'm going to do one review for both parts of just Green Angel Tower. We just split the read-along into 2 parts because it was so massive and I didn't want anyone feeling like they were left behind. So that's the plan right now. So for first couple weeks of April probably will be that. Very anxious to see where he goes with it because I feel like that chessboard has been set, the pieces are moving, and it's time to see who is the last person standing, So I'm excited to see how he wraps that up, because he's definitely set the board really, really well, and I feel like it's about to hit the fan. I really feel like it is time. It wasn't quite cliffhangery, but it was right there where I was like, well, yeah, I mean, like a battle was just about to start, So I guess you would say it is kind of cliffhangery, but I still felt like it was something where I wasn't like, I got to start right now. So yeah, I definitely have time after Kings of Death will be just for that. And then if we finish that, guys, the other review copy I got right now, which is Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. It'll be full speed ahead on that, because that actually releases in April. So I want to make sure that I get that done so I can review it for you guys, on release day is always the goal with those things. But guys, that's really all I got in the plans right now. I think that's going to take up quite a while. Oh, you want to know what these are? We'll talk about it in a minute. So that's really all that's going on with what I'm reading and stuff. Let's talk about this week on the channel, you guys. I did go back into the multiverse. I said I was going to do it. Didn't expect to do it as quick as I did, but I wanted to talk about Dolores Claiborne while it's still fresh right here, because I had a lot to talk about. As you can see, I was very excited to return to the multiverse. We did take 3 months off, and I think we took 2 months off before that. So it's only like the second Stephen King book I talk about in like 6 months. So that's quite a dry spell since I started this channel. But a very underrated Stephen King book. I feel like it's a book that really gets kind of lost in the shuffle of his stuff in the 90s there. It seems like between Needful Things and Green Mile, that stuff just kind of gets forgotten even by big-time fans within the kingdom, So I wanted to make sure I put a spotlight on that. And I'm actually seeing that there are quite a lot of people who, that's one of the few books by Stephen King they have read because they did enjoy the movies so much. So it's usually the other way around, people love the book and they hate the movies. This one has they really like the movie and it drew them to the book. So that's a nice change. But anytime you got Kathy Bates in a Stephen King story, it usually ends up pretty well, right? So maybe they'll cast her in something else here in the future, and we'll get her trilogy. I mean, I didn't know she did have a cameo in The Stand, by the way, if you count The Stand TV movie. It was real quick. But yeah, Kathy Bates is always going to be kind of synonymous with Stephen King now, because she's had two really just wonderful roles, and that's two wonderful books that you're talking about there in Misery and Dolores Claiborne. So I was excited to talk about it, and I hope more of you will check it out. It's a quick read, guys. You guys will dig it. Then I did a quick one just talking about my plans for The Lord of the Rings. I had kind of told you guys when we got closer to the time that the TV series was going to come out that I was going to kind of ramp up the coverage and talk about that, because it's my favorite fantasy series. I've never talked about them on the channel, really. And people wanted to know what was the deal with that. So it was that, and then obviously it got delayed because of the virus shall not be named. Well, now it's actually coming out in September, so I laid it out how we're going to do everything leading up to the release of that. And if it's something that you guys really like, I will continue with the Tolkien universe. So there are books in the Tolkien universe I haven't read. I haven't read the Great Tales. I haven't read Unfinished Tales, things like that. So there's plenty of content to be discussed and for me still to explore. So that really just depends on you guys. If it's something that's coverage that you guys are digging, sure, I have no problems keeping going. But I am going to commit, obviously, to talking about The Hobbit, to talking about why you should read Tolkien, and talking about, of course, the original trilogy of books, all with their own special review. So it's a long time coming. I'm excited to do it. I'll say it will be a little bit of pressure, because, I do love these books so much. But if I could talk about Dune on the channel and be happy with it, I think I could talk about Lord of the Rings and be okay. And then I did my Off the Books, which is just something, like I said, guys, I never expect Off the Books content to be super popular on this channel. I know that some people are here just for the books. I think as a content creator, when you talk about just one thing, it feels good to kind of break the monotony once in a while. And with Off the Books, it's really just kind of to give people, kind of a peek behind the curtain of things I'm into besides just books. And obviously, rock and roll is a big one. So I wanted to talk about the Mount Rushmore of rock and roll. That's the top 4 of any category for anyone who's outside the States and doesn't know that reference. It was fun for me to talk about, the best singers, best guitar players, best bass players, best drummers, and of course, best songwriters in rock and roll history. It's generated a lot of fun conversation. And the thing about that, guys, is like music's so subjective. There really is no wrong answers for that. It really is just your 4 favorites, So it's been a lot of fun. Seeing what you guys' musical tastes are. And I had a lot of fun talking about it, because I've wanted to talk about music on the channel for a while. Every time I have a live stream, people want to know, like, what are your top, Iron Maiden albums and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun to get into it and kind of just talk about, some of my rock and roll heroes, So that's something that I wanted to do for a while. So I'm glad I was finally able to do it. And I have no idea what I'll do with the next Off the Books, but I plan to continue to change it up. Don't kind of just fall into the trap of doing like the same things over and over. Not always just movies, not always just TV, not always just music or video games. Kind of just shake it up and see what happens with it. So that was pretty much it for the channel this week. Let's go ahead and talk about a little bit of next week plans, guys. I do plan to do a little early my spring 2022 TBR. Now, this has changed quite a bit from what I originally had planned because, we did shake some things up with some read-alongs and things like that. So April, May, and June. I like to do these about every quarter because I do feel like a lot of people do them just every month, and I feel like I don't know, that just feels weird. So I like to think that I plan ahead enough that I can feel safe or confident in doing, just those 3 months and actually doing what I say I'm going to read. So there's some things I'm still trying to iron out on it. So it'll be actually kind of an adventure putting that together because it's not locked in stone right yet. So, but I am excited to kind of announce some of the things that I plan to do there that you may not know about if you aren't a daily watcher of the channel. So lots of new things that will be happening here pretty soon, and I'm very excited to talk about them. Then I did my rapid reviews, guys, last week for Unsold. That's book number 1, A Cradle. And so some people have said, are you going to keep doing rapid reviews? Yes, I am, and I'm going to start doing that next week. I'm going to be doing a rapid review for A Princess of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs, which is Barsoom John Carter of Mars number 1. And I think that's perfect for the rapid review segment because they're short stories, guys. They're like all those John Carter books are like 250 pages or less. But there's plenty to talk about, but you can do it in a way where I think the rapid review treatment won't feel like I'm shortchanging anything, because I'm not talking about Barsoom as a whole. I'm just talking about the first book, Princess of Mars, which is basically going to turn into a why you should read it, because, guys, you should read it. That really is. It's a lot of fun, and I'm excited to talk about it because I think that Edgar Rice Burroughs is just a genius, and there's so much really to talk about. Now, if I have time, guys, here we're going to talk about that big stack over here I know you've been eyeballing. If I have time, guys, I joked at the beginning about, what does it matter if you take a poll? We're going to do what we want to do. Obviously, that was tongue-in-cheek. I was joking. I hope no one got their feelings hurt by that. That's not true. I always like to listen to you guys. Now, I did put up a poll recently, and I said, of these series I talked about in my video where I said, series that, that are most recommended to me by viewers, of these, which one would you most want to hear me talk about? Now, look, far and away, Greenbow Saga completely dominated that poll. It wasn't even close, and I knew that was going to happen. But here's the thing I wanted to kind of let you guys in on, a little insider baseball here. The whole reason that I did that poll was for those other 4 that were on there, I kind of wanted to gauge interest on the channel from my audience, because there's lots of series I feel like are popular, but my audience doesn't really have an interest in them. So really what I was trying to find out is, are things like, I know that Star Wars isn't that popular, but is the Book of the Ancestor super popular? Mark Lawrence with my audience. Is Rift War by Raymond Feist super popular with my audience? Is Drizzt, however you say it, is that popular with my audience? And I'm starting to think that Drizzt might be. So, guys, I think I have committed to reading The Legend of Drizzt. Now, it's just going to be these 6 books to start with. Now, I know that sounds kind of funny, but guys, there's like 40 books in that series, so this is nothing. But here's the thing. I already had the Dark Elf trilogy of Years Since Me, and I went ahead and picked up Icewind Dale, which is the next trilogy, which people say you can read in either order, apparently. I've had different varying opinions on which one you should read first. But I don't want anyone thinking, but Greenbone Saga won your poll. Why are you talking about reading this? I already have Greenbone Saga on the schedule, guys. It's going to be this summer, starting when we start doing our Codex Solero read-along. That's going to we're doing 2 of those per month, and I'm going to do a Greenbow book in between each one of those. So that's already on the schedule. So this is just getting moved up a little bit. Now, here's the thing. I don't have an exact date for when I'm starting these, but right now, look, guys, whenever you're in the middle of a series, all you can do is look at that next series with hearts in your eyes. It's just how it works with us crazy people. But if I have time, guys, I'm thinking about doing a why I decided to read Forgotten Realms, because I think that there's plenty to talk about what really got me interested in this, and a lot of it was you guys. I didn't know how popular this was outside of just the Dungeons and Dragons circles that I know. So I think that I think I'd have enough to kind of talk about there, because there's a really rich history with this, and I think that R.A. Salvatore is one of those writers that's just mega popular, and I've never read anything by him except a couple of his Star Wars books. He wrote one of my favorite Star Wars books, by the way, Vector Prime. Yeah, he wrote that. So that's really all I know about him, and he had the balls to kill off a legacy character in that first book. So I'm hoping this guy is as vicious in his books as as he was in that Star Wars book. But the thing with this is, a lot of people told me this is like entry level fantasy. You don't got to think too hard. That sounds great. That sounds great when you're reading stuff like Kingdoms of Death into Green Angel Tower. It's great to have some nice little palate cleansers like these in there. So that's the plans right now, guys. My best case scenario is I fly through Kingdoms of Death into Green Angel Tower so much I can maybe fit in one or two. But I'm not planning on doing those all like in a row or anything. Those are just going to kind of be in between stuff, just like Cradle. I'm going to continue to do stuff like that. But if I have time next week, guys, like I said, finance season, this is really, really rough during the taxes. It really can bog you down. So with that, it just kind of remains to be seen if I have time to do a why I decided to read The Legend of Dritz. And no matter how I say it, someone's going to tell me I'm saying it wrong. So I'm just going to start saying Dritz from now on. And that's really all I got for books, guys. I'll go ahead and talk about a couple of TV and movie things before I go. Remember a couple months back, I did a fan cast for Dune Part 2? I don't think Denny V watched it. Because these haven't been confirmed. These haven't been confirmed by Warner Brothers or by Denny or by anybody else in the movie yet. But a lot of mainstream sites that have these connections have already talked about these castings. And I talking about the big ones. Fade Routha was always going to be a big one, and Princess Irulan. And apparently that is the two that they have cast first. First up as Princess Irulan, Florence Pugh, who I haven't seen in a ton of stuff, guys. I still haven't seen Black Widow. I mean, okay, look, Princess Irulan is supposed to be a knockout, and a lot of guys said she's a knockout. So I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. Here's the thing, guys. After Dune Part 1, I trust Denny with all of his castings. He knows what he's doing. He knows he can get someone that can act. And yeah, cool. Great. The one I'm actually a little more excited about is Austin Butler as Fade Routha. And the reason is, guys, is because if you remember a few weekly updates back, I talked about that Elvis movie. And I think that he's just going to become a star after that movie. I think he's going to knock it out of the park as Elvis Presley. And I think I might maybe be the only one thinking that. If, I think Denny could have probably had his pick of who he wanted for this role. And this is who he picked. And it's kind of funny in hindsight. This would be the second role, I guess, he's beaten Harry Styles for. Because everybody said it was like Harry Styles' role to lose as Elvis. And he beat him out. And everybody was saying Harry Styles for this. And I don't even know if he auditioned or if there was an audition process or Denny V just said, that's who I want. But I like this a lot. I haven't really seen the guy really outside of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and just the trailer to the Elvis movie. Just sometimes you just get this feeling that a young actor is going to just be a star. And I really get that vibe from him. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a killer role for him. So, yeah, I think the sky is the limit for Butler. And this could be the casting after Elvis. I think they can really make him be, keep him from getting typecast as Elvis, because that can help into a young actor and show that he's going to have some depth. And I can't wait to see the finished product there. You hear this rumor going around right now? Again, not confirmed, that Hugh Grant has been offered the role of the next Doctor Who. That's interesting. It also says that they're going for like an MCU-style reboot for Doctor Who. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means they want to have spin-offs or whatever and have a connected universe. I don't know if that means, or this means that they're going to try to go back to having fun with their show. Now, look, I've had my criticisms of the MCU. I enjoyed it, guys. Look, up through Endgame, it was a ton of fun for me. After that, it's just kind of like whatever. It's just kind of an afterthought for me. Excited about this because, look, my problem with Doctor Who has never been Jodie Whittaker. It has been that writing team that Chibnall has put together that don't seem to like Doctor Who. And it's like, why did you give the keys to this beloved franchise to people who clearly don't give a damn about the history or the lore or what this show was supposed to be? Fun. It stopped being fun. It actually stopped being fun, I think, during during Moffat's last couple years. So you got Russell T Davies coming back. You're getting told they're going to have get this little reboot going. I think it's going to be, if they just want the show to be fun again, guys. I just want the show to be fun again. I want the Doctor to just be something where it's ridiculous, where he's got a lightsaber riding the back of a T-Rex again. I mean, it's just crazy. I want that kind of stuff, I love that stuff with Doctor Who. And I feel like it hasn't been like that since Matt Smith was the Doctor. It just got so self-serious. And it was like, this isn't why I watch Doctor Who. I watch Doctor Who for imagination and fun, not to be preached at. And just stop being fun. So if that's what it means, cool. I think Hugh Grant would probably be a fun Doctor. I think that would be probably the highest profile Doctor they've ever had. But I also think his star's fallen a little bit, obviously. But I don't know. We'll see. But again, it's just rumor at this point. But again, I know a lot of people always, when you say you fell out of Doctor Who during this current generation, that, it's because you didn't like Jodie Whittaker. I thought she was fine, guys. It was the writing team that I have been less than impressed with. So give me a better writer's room. Russell T Davies, at least he knows and loves the lore of Doctor Who. So fingers crossed, guys, because I'd love to have the Doctor back. Again, before I go, real quick, I want to talk about these Obi-Wan rewrites. You hear about this? So last week I was real positive about the Obi-Wan trailer. And then this story comes out about how it was too dark. And Kathleen Kennedy mandated a rewrite to make the show more fun. And guys, this is why I don't believe anything will ever change under her regime. This is dark content we're going to be dealing with. You're talking about hunting down the remaining Jedi. This is the darkest period in Star Wars history. And you want to make sure it's more fun. And this is just, it's never going to change, guys. It's never going to change. So we'll see. I still liked what I saw in that trailer enough to be interested in the show. But yeah, stories like this, they really make me be like, this is probably what happened to Boba Fett too, So we'll see. We'll see, guys. And lastly, before I go, I do want to mention this documentary I watched. Remember a while back, about last year, I talked about this Kickstarter project that got put together for this documentary called In Search of Darkness, which is all about 80s horror. And it was just brilliant. Well, they've done another one, guys, and this time it is on 80s science fiction. It's called In Search of Tomorrow. 5 hours long, and it's absolutely brilliant. I breezed through it in one day, guys. It was so good. It was so incredible. They do such impressive work. And, you can buy directly from them. I'll drop the link down below. Such a great deal. Because, guys, it's got so much entertainment. If you're a Gen Xer like me, you probably grew up with all those movies, and you are going to have a blast down memory lane. Some of the movies they talk about, I haven't thought about in years, and it's so good. They got so many actors and directors and people behind the scenes that are involved with making these movies. It's just so good. I cannot state enough how much fun I had with it. So I hope you guys will check it out. But guys, that was kind of my week. What was your week like? Why don't you drop in the comments, let me know what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, and what you were playing, and have yourselves an awesome weekend.